The first and only debate between the two candidates for Wisconsin Supreme Court is now in the books.
And last night, Marquette hosted liberal-backed Susan Crawford and conservative-backed Brad Schimel in Milwaukee. The two sparred over multiple issues, including partisanship and the massive amounts of money being funneled into this race.
Joining us now for post-debate analysis and a look at the latest polling on this race, political analyst Brandon Scholes. Hi, Brandon. Good to see you.
Thank you.
So what were your key takeaways from last night?
You know, debates are either going to win for somebody or it's going to be a wash. I thought last night was a dogfight. I think both candidates came out, they threw their punches. They were on the attack. Susan Crawford was on the attack on Schimel. Schimel was on the attack on her. She went after him on some of his relationships to Trump and Musk. He went after her on law and criminal justice and crime and law and all this stuff. That's kind of what those debates are like, especially for the court. But there was a lot more that came around that in that full hour.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, those, one of the big sparring moments last night, they went back and forth on billionaires, donors kind of funding those nasty attack ads that are out there. Was that a big takeaway, you think?
You know, it's hard to say, because if you say George Soros is a big donor to Judge Crawford, a lot of people don't know who George Soros is. They might know a little bit more that Elon Musk is a big supporter of Brad Schimel, at least his PACs are, and maybe Donald Trump has done some things too. So it depends on how high profile those names are to get people to react. But the fact is that both sides, the millionaires and billionaires of the Democrats and the Republicans, have all woken up and they're spending money in this race. If you remember back in 23, the big number was $55 million spent on that whole race. It was a national record. Today, we're at 60 million and we got 2 weeks to go. So the millionaires and billionaires have checked in. But there's lots of low donors too. These races are expensive, but this race has been nationalized. Mm-hmm. This is not just little old Wisconsin looking to see what's going to happen in its state Supreme Court. It's got a national perspective. Networks, all the political pundits, everybody's looking at this race because it really is all about power. And whoever wins this race will have power in the court for at least 2 years. And so if you keep the majority that's there now, they will continue on in the rulings that they talked about last night. They talked about abortion. They talked about redistricting. There's Act 10. There's all sorts of things that the court will take up. So whoever has majority control, those 4 seats, they'll make the decision.
The stakes are so high. A lot of people have said it's unfortunate there was only one opportunity to see this debate. A lot of people didn't have access to it or get that opportunity. Mm-hmm. And the polling shows it's neck and neck, right?
Well, if you got a coin, pull it out, because it truly is a coin toss. You have two candidates. Maybe Brad Schimel's a little bit better known because of his time as AG. Both are judges, so they have their local, but statewide, it's hard to do this. And even with $60 million worth of advertising and campaign activity, we're finding in polling that people are saying they don't necessarily have enough information to make a decision. They haven't heard, they don't know. So it tells me that they're still tuned out. And this is not new for spring elections. Usually people are like, I don't know what's going on. But still, with $60 million, you think that some people start to get it. You've seen 2 polls, one that says that, people know them, but not great yet. Mm-hmm. And then another poll that came out said it's kind of a coin toss. So take that coin, it's a toss-up. But they got 2 weeks to go. And so in the next 2 weeks, they're going to have to identify, if they haven't already, who they've got to get to the polls. And we know the turnout's pretty low, so we hope everybody remembers to go vote on April 1st. But to win that race, both sides are going to have to really turn out their voters. So I think, at least on the Democrat side, this is an opportunity for a revenge vote against Donald Trump. For all the Democrats who felt bad about last November and that they lost, this is an opportunity to maybe go vote against Donald Trump. On the Republican side, the conservative side, Brad Schimel, I think, needs to really pull those MAGA voters, as well as some Republicans, to the polls, because this is just not something, this is not an election people pay a lot of attention to, even though the stakes are great. And even beyond the Supreme Court race, you're going to have somebody who's now going to run the Department of Public Instruction in Wisconsin.
Right, we didn't even get a chance to talk about that.
And we don't know what's going to happen on the federal side, but if they move the entire education department out to the states, you're going to have a new superintendent. You may have a new superintendent out there. Brittany Kinzer is making a real run at this race against the incumbent Jill Underly. So, from the top card and the undercard, we've got a lot going on here, especially all the things in the communities and referendums and things. But we're at a race that I think, if we're here the day after the election, we're probably talking about $75, $80, $90 million on this race.
Well, we hope you'll be here.
Yes.
And before then, too. Yeah.
I wouldn't miss it.
We'll see you again before Election Day and
For
definitely
sure.
after.
Yes, thanks so much, Brandon.
You bet.
Thanks, Brandon.
Nice to see you.
Great to see you.